agile architecture in this transformation of the world's largest machine. I will talk about what is a vision as you move through this and how vision is required as you develop such a large, ultra-large scale system. We'll talk a little bit about what is that future and get into some of the fun thoughts about what your future is, because we all participate in the grid every day. Even though you're not a utility, you flip the lights on, you expect that power to be there. I just talked about 1.9 million electric meters. What about 20 to 30 to 50 sensors behind that? Hundreds of millions and billions of sensors all working as a common system through many, many different companies working together. Far beyond the size of today's systems and systems of systems, by every measure. Number of lines of code, number of people employing the system for different purposes. By the way, you all, in the near future, will be members of the smart grid. The interdependencies of different markets and systems and communication methods. Ultra-large scale systems. I loved this. When I read it, I thought SEI is right on. This is something far beyond what you imagine today in systems. If all of your devices in your home are going to begin to interact in some way with this larger thing, because we're going to begin to have more renewable resources in the mix, and maybe your devices can figure out when the prices or availability of the commodity is there. We also talked about what are the information paths and the physics distribution of this commodity, electrical paths, and how do they go together. And then we realized that when you deal with an ultra-large scale system, you must also think about what are the layers inside of that system. Organizationally, the policies, the business objectives, the business procedures of each organization, thousands of them. Imagine if I can shift time sync and devices that are reacting and doing things, do things at the wrong time. I could literally bring down the country. Historically, you know the non-renewable, non-variables. You know, coal plants, nuclear plants, gas plants, etc. They come on, we can manage them with that guy who's got the big lever, right? And then you've got distribution down into your neighborhoods and cities, carrying from that transmission, but again also operations markets, and now connecting to the customer many other devices, including these switches that are rerouting power for you, bringing power into your neighborhoods. And again, more control, more measure, more protect, more record. The meters now at the transformer levels and on many other devices. But then comes the really complex, 100-fold larger environment, the customer. Refrigerators that will defrost when cheapest, and dishwashers that will wash when cheapest or most available. Let's think of it that way, right? If your car would go and fill itself up when it's 27 cents a gallon tonight at 11 p.m. versus when it's $5 a gallon, would you like that? We have to understand the economic and regulatory policies that are driving all of this. We need to be able to integrate and allow for access to the data. And so we architect our system that way. But then we realize, you know what, it's not just the data management, it's the real information content out of that I need. So I need to do information management. I need to have an intelligent enterprise that is working on this data, understanding this data, and doing transformation based on this data, all as part of the architecture. Not architecting a system, but architecting an enterprise's ecosystem. When you get to an ultra-large-scale system, you're dealing with the intelligent energy ecosystem, the industry as a whole, society as a whole. As architecture moves forward, we become such an integrated and interconnected society that you can't build things as one-offs and not expect to throw them away eventually. I'm at least driven that I must do this because this thing is already becoming incredibly interconnected. But what you do will as well. They believe that It is an evolving, continuously integrating and communicating thing to build an ultra-large system. And it needs utilities for us in our ultra-large system, standards development organizations, vendors, all coming together into something like an ecosystem test lab, working on how does this vision come together, how do we evolve. I believe this is the way of architecture of the future. It is not believing I have figured it all out in the beginning, and understanding we are laying the foundations that must evolve.